You're listening to UCW Radio. In your face.
What we got here is a failure to communicate.
Oh, have I got your attention now?
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
You know what I mean?
Money to be made in a place like this.
Money never sleeps, pal.
You're crazy. Don't run when you lose. Don't whine when it hurts.
You know what it takes to sell real estate? It takes brass.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
Alright, welcome to Money Never Sleeps. This is the show where we talk about anything and everything that impacts the flow of money from around the corner to around the world. And I want to thank you for being with us today. We're gonna talk about the health tech, medical tech, and that arena, insurance tech. Maybe we'll touch on that a little bit. I'm not going to be speaking about any particular companies. I'm going to be speaking about the industries, the emerging industries, so the emerging areas of these arenas. There's you have a lot of things going on in every sector. The health tech, that area covers it all across the board, from medicines, devices, vaccines, systems, and procedures and growth areas, and I mean it covers it all. Okay, one of the big things that's a lot of people know about now is telemedicine. Telemedicine, you have a lot of companies out there that are involved in this. Telemedicine is becoming more important now that we're in this pandemic phase, and it's going to be more important in the post-pandemic phase. There has been an indelible mark that has been put on all of us during this time. It's something that won't change back. It's something that won't become what we once knew as normal. This is the new normal. This is the new reality that we live in. And remote telemedicine, remote access to this, mobile access to this is important. But there are a lot of different areas in this. Security is a big issue. Privacy is a big issue across the board. Okay, but I want to touch on this. Telemedicine, portals, and self-service kiosks. I'm sure that you've been to a drugstore, whether it be a CVS or a Walgreens or something, and you took your blood pressure. That's a self-service kiosk. They have other ones that are popping up doing other things. You have mobile health, and they call it mHealth. That allows for easy access to healthcare processes, all right, and files and information. It allows for physicians and patients. It gives them access to this information on the go. So it allows a patient to have access to these processes, to their files and or their medical history, as well as doctors. And this is going to become very important in telemedicine, very important in the whole health tech arena. This is a $22 billion industry and growing by leaps and bounds. My concern with this, and this is the area of opportunity, is big data and the security that goes with it. You need that security, because what's going to wind up happening, you have people's data out there. If you're not securing that and there's a breach, there's a problem. Okay. The electronic health records. This is going to be important, especially with telemedicine and various portals, but more so when you're dealing with a doctor. If you have your electronic health record, something happens to you, doctors, they have immediate access to your files, because you may be allergic to penicillin. They don't know it. You may not have a tag on you. You may be allergic to something else. And if they don't know it, they may administer that, and then you'll have a bigger problem. So having access to these electronic health records is going to be more important as we move forward in the coming years. Remote monitoring tools for the home, for you as an individual. Basically, you have it now. Look at Apple, look at Android, more so Apple. They have health monitoring tools on their iWatch. You can monitor your oxygen levels, your heart rate, Okay, you have with Google Android, they took over Fitbit. So you have Fitbit, you have that part of it. Okay, so there are a lot of things that are coming into play with that. Sensors and wearable tech. This stuff is going to be more important moving forward because it's going to reduce the financial load on the healthcare industry by having simple tools in your hands. If anyone had saw the original Wall Street with the Gordon Gekko, if you've seen that, you saw what he spoke about in that scene when he was talking to Bud Fox. You had, Michael Douglas talking to Charlie Sheen, and he put the diagnostic device on his arm to monitor his blood pressure, and he went through all the numbers on it. He said one of these devices costs less than one trip to a doctor. So if you have devices that are cost effective, you're basically going to save the load of the health system, the insurance companies. So there are a lot of benefits that happen there, and I'll talk about the insurance technology around it. But as far as insurance companies are concerned, if you're monitoring your health and you're taking care of yourself, that reduces their load and allows them to hopefully reduce your rates. And we'll go into that insurance tech in a little bit and see where that comes into play. All right, another area of opportunity for a lot of growth are wireless devices in hospitals. Okay, you're thinking, okay, how does that make sense? It does make sense. If you have doctors that are roaming from floor to floor, from room to room, nurses that are doing the same, and they have access, secure access to the database, they can go and communicate things with patients on the fly. They don't have to go and look in the file room, pull out their file, and look at the file on the bed and all that stuff. They have everything in the palm of their hand. And having these wireless devices is not just it's not just having a wireless iPad and there you go. You have to have wireless devices that will not interfere with the machines that are in the hospitals. So there's a great growth prospect there, and any company that actually puts a focus on that, they're going to be opening up I'm pretty sure a multi-billion-dollar stream of revenue for themselves over time. With the wireless devices, look, you have real-time locating. Um, devices for tracking as well. You can track your medical devices, your supplies, your clinical staff. If there's an emergency and you don't know where the doctor is, maybe he went to the bathroom, maybe he went somewhere else, maybe he went to get a bagel, who knows? But if there's an emergency, you want to be able to track your staff when you need them. You want to track the medical devices because if a medical device is needed, last thing you need to do, if it's an emergency, you need to go and you need that in your hands right now immediately. The last thing you need is to have to track it down. Say, oh, Dr. So-and-so took it for this patient, or maybe Dr. So-and-so. If you have a record of it, and the inclusion of blockchain in this is going to be important too, because then you can't go and make it up. You can't smudge it. So you're tracking the devices, supplies. If you can track the supplies, again, you'll have some smart guys that'll come up with something for that, and that's mitigating your risk. And again, keeping track of your clinical staff is not to say, hey, Big Brother's watching. It's to say, hey, if we need you, we need to know where you are so we can get you so you can save a life. That's what it comes down to. And there's another area of health technology that's going to be, I believe, another growth area. Has to do with genome sequencing. Basically tailoring treatments towards an individual. Now, how interesting is that? Where we are all different, the same in some respects, different in others. Okay, and if you're able to go break things down to a point that you can provide treatment on an individual basis based on that particular person to the medicine and how it needs to be put together for them to get the best treatment. Again, That's a big plus for the medical industry, for the health industry. That's a big load off of the insurance companies, believe it or not. A lot of things come into play there. And anyway, the health technology arena, a lot of great opportunities. I've seen a lot of things going on in medical technology. I want to touch on robotics. Look, robotics. It's going to be really, really big. I love artificial intelligence. We're heavily involved in that arena, and artificial intelligence in the medical arena is here, and it will continue to be here. You have remote surgeries that are using robots and virtual reality now. Okay, machine learning for precision. It's here now. Machine learning is just a component of artificial intelligence, and utilizing that to go and perform surgeries remotely. You can be in the United States performing a surgery in Africa. Okay, and it's all possible utilizing virtual reality and robotics. It has been done, and it'll be more prevalent as we move forward, because the need for top quality, high end medical treatments is there. And it'll go and it'll give, look, the medical community embracing technology is going to be very important for the masses. I do believe that. Augmented reality, this should be and will be something big. Companies that are creating these platforms, they're going to benefit from it. Augmented reality for learning and teaching for let's say in the medical arena. It's for any arena. It can go from manufacturing to finance. You can go in any area and utilize augmented reality for learning. You can, in the medical arena, because this is what I'm talking about today. You can have a medical student practice surgery 1,000 times using augmented reality. And it's so accurate, so precise, so on point that they are fully and will be fully prepared when they do graduate medical school to become doctors. Not to become just a doctor, to become highly precise doctors and surgeons. And it's going to help the medical community. It's going to help the community at large. Because I would, if I'm getting surgery, I want someone that's done it a lot of times, not someone that's doing it for the first time. And if you're utilizing augmented reality, you're going through the same process as if you were really doing it. And I'm sure they're going to create other parts of that which will give you the feel and everything else, wearing the gloves, and you can, use VR, I guess, to do this. But again, I think you're going to see more of this coming forward, and the companies that are in this arena, again, they're going to benefit. Okay, now let's talk about medical advances. Medical tech, medtech. You have a lot of different areas. Okay, and I'll go through them. And again, I'm not an expert at this, but I see where the opportunities will lie, and that's what I speak about here. I speak about the opportunities. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you are in this arena, you can, maybe what I'm saying here will give you a thought, a light bulb that say, hey, maybe we can be that company, be that person. Definitely do it if you feel like you can. Okay, but medical advances, tissue engineering is one. Basically, when you tissue engineering, they're replicating the tissues, whether it be 3D printing of skin, of organs and things of that nature. I think that is going to be a very, very interesting arena. Okay, and it's just getting warmed up with it, in that arena, and I want to talk about that in a minute. The advances are growth factors, gene therapy, attachable prosthetics, implantable computers. Now, implantable computers, that becomes that's another level of things, but is monitoring your body. You can monitor your body, and you can also take someone that maybe they're paralyzed and they can't walk. So you have implantable computers and some other bodily prosthetics that can help them to go and do this. Because obviously, if you're paralyzed, your muscles, you have atrophy that sets in, and you can't utilize your legs, your arms, or things the way that you normally would if you didn't have that issue. So, these advances are going to be important. And I think, you've seen it. If you haven't, you should go look on YouTube or something. You'll see they have these outer skeletal suits where you have someone that's paralyzed. They put it on. That gives them the ability to walk. They use this for the military as well, and it's really interesting because these skeletal suits, if you put them on, you can actually hold on to a lot more weight than without it. But for the benefit of the medical arena, it can give someone the ability to walk, which is a good thing. And these areas are so new that they will go through an evolution process. The progress, the process and the progress, we'll just say it's a Cambrian pattern, right? Basically, trial and error until it's perfect. We saw this in the knee and hip replacement arena. You had when they came out with the knee and hip replacement. In the beginning, people were getting toxicity in their blood due to the metals. But nowadays, you see less and less of that. They're utilizing titanium and so on and so forth. So you see less of that and more success, and it becomes commonplace that people, hey, I'm going to get a knee replacement, I'm going to get a hip replacement, where maybe 20 years ago it's like, oh my God, I got to replace my knee. And it's just different today because of the advances, and they perfected the area. And I mean, the failure in the beginning was heavy, and it went to perfection. So we're going to see a lot of that in the medical advances that we see in tissue engineering and gene therapy and the attachable prosthetics, which I see a lot of pluses on that. I saw a video that the former NBA player Rex Chapman, he posted it, and it was really interesting. Had a 80-something-year-old, I think he was Brazilian or Bolivian, pianist. Okay, he lost movement with his fingers, so he couldn't play the piano. And they put prosthetics on his hands, and it allowed him to play the piano, and it was an emotional thing for him. It just shows you how technology can impact our lives, and I think that is very important. That technology does benefit us, as humans, as living creatures. Let it benefit us, for the benefit of mankind, right? Now, going back to machine learning, machine learning requires data, okay, and in the medical arena, data, I believe that they gather a lot of data. Problem is, what are you using it for? How are you using it? It's not that you don't have it. You can have, gigabytes. I mean, it will come to a point that we'll have zettabytes of data. If you don't know how to use it, it's like having a nice big Bugatti or Lamborghini, and it's beautiful, it looks nice, everything else, but you don't drive stick. It doesn't have an engine. Where's it going? If you don't know how to utilize it, then it's just nice to look at, to say, hey, I have all this data. Okay, great. If you're not doing anything with it, what is it? It's nothing. Okay, big money and big data. That's why you have Google and Facebook and other social media and search engines and other groups out there that go and they gather this data, because it's going to be utilized later, and it allows them to go and create better systems, better platforms, better things for their business and in general. The machine learning part of it, the machines, if you go to Google, you type something, and all of a sudden it pops up. They know what you're thinking. It's machine learning. It's understanding your patterns of what you may be looking for. And that's the purpose of what they do. So they can go and market to you, advertising. And that is, used in every industry. Trust me on that. Okay, so, but in any event, I want to talk about the insurance companies, because or insurance technology, because I spoke about medtech and health tech, and I think that insurance tech is a natural progression because the insurance companies, they're the ones that are supposed to pay for all this, right? Doesn't always happen, but I think that insurance technology is going to be interesting because what they do, they have predictive analytics, right? Where they're identifying or have the ability with technology to identify risk of fraud and insurance claims. And you're saying, okay, that really has nothing to do with medtech or health tech, but it does because if you have high fraud, it's going to jack up the insurance rates, and it's going to cost more to get health care in general. So it does play a role here, okay? And this predictive analytics, it identifies trends with an individual. Okay. Also, the pricing and risk for a customer comes into play because if you're utilizing this information to judge what you're going to charge a customer, that can be good for them, that can be bad for them. It all depends on the person, right? Artificial intelligence, again, as it plays a role in every industry, it plays a role in insurance technology. Because you're talking about improving efficiencies and the user experience. If you're able to have, like chat boxes and the communication is fluid between an individual and the company or a doctor and the company, it makes it easier. You make it easier for people to file their claims or do whatever they need to do with the insurance companies. It makes it easier. You make it harder, they're not going to want to deal with it. Maybe the insurance companies of old, they adhered to that because they depended on you to get frustrated and not go forward with it. But in this day and age, you have to do the right thing, and you have to set up these platforms, these portals, these processes to make it easier for the users, make it easier for the consumer. You make it easier for the consumer, and the medical industry is going to be it's going to be better. It's going to be cost effective for the insurance companies. It's going to be better for the healthcare industry because now you're bringing, more people, may have insurance because it's cost effective, right? They had to implement Obamacare and all this stuff, and why? Because insurance premiums are way too high. And why? Because the risks aren't mitigated, and insurance companies are charging horrendous premiums. And what happens? The public gets screwed each and every time. And through technology, we can help, to mitigate that. So, you smart people out there that are creating these platforms, create things in that arena so that it can help the general public, and things are being created. You know, the machine learning part of it is good because it's, again, learning the patterns of the individual. Okay, it's going to improve how claims are filed, the processes, the automation, the accuracy, the speed. Quicker you get things done, quicker you move forward, quicker you get out of that realm. You get into an accident, you want to file a claim, you want to go through this. You don't want to wait, months to get to the bottom line. Get to the bottom line, get it done, move forward, and that's the way that goes. I mentioned about data, okay, and platforms. The insurance companies, they're using social media to interact and with their customers. Sharing and convenience plays a role there too, because if you're on a social media platform and they're there, you can communicate with them fairly easily. The downside with that is they start having access to your information. Okay, not just the information you type in, but if you have insurance and all of a sudden you're showing pictures of you drinking with your buddies and doing stupid things, well, you're a high insurance risk, aren't you? And that's going to impact your premiums. So be aware of that when you're talking to insurance companies on social media. And I'm going to close out with this: that on the front, on the automotive front, okay, telematics. This is going to be I think this is going to be more so the standard as we move forward in the next couple of years than not. You know, you have Tesla with their electric cars and all the technology in there. You have Porsche, they have their electric car. You have GM that's doing stuff with the with Nikola. They're going to have their electric trucks and other EV deals coming out, and they're all incorporating technology. Telematics is going to be a part of that, and basically that's having a wearable for your car. Okay, and just to make it, put it in its simplest form, Progressive has it. State Farm is using it now. You put a little dongle in your car, and it monitors how fast you go when you're, you know, and all this other stuff. So it keeps drivers aware, and it's more of a proactive device than reactive. Reactive doesn't help. Proactive, you save lives. Proactive, you reduce premiums. Proactive, you do a lot of things. Okay. And I mentioned the chat box. You know, these are virtual assistants. That's going to be important for the communication. And last but not least, drones. Drones for devastated areas, even for a single claim, is going to speed up the process. It's going to mitigate fraud. It's going to expedite claims, and you're going to see a lot more happening with that in the companies that are in all these areas. You know, as you see, a lot of areas for a lot of growth, and I'm looking forward to the next, you know, year to 5 years and see all the technology that's going to come out and how all the startups are going to come out and start solving these problems through technology. All right, that's about it for this episode of Money Never Sleeps. I want to thank you for joining me, and hopefully you got something out of this show. And stay tuned, you know, for the next episode. And until then, have yourself a fantastic and profitable trading day.
Initiating shutdown sequence.
You're listening to UCW Radio. In your face.
What is your major malfunction?
So let it be written. So let it be done.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.
All opinions expressed by Luis Velazquez on the Money Never Sleeps radio show and its website are solely his opinions and do not reflect the opinions of the UCW radio show or their parent company or affiliates, and may have been previously disseminated by him on television, radio, internet, or another medium. You should not treat any opinion expressed by him as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of his opinion. His opinions are based upon information he considers to be reliable, but neither the UCW radio show nor its affiliates, parent companies, and or subsidiaries warrant its completeness or accuracy, and it should not be relied upon as such. The UCW radio show, Luis Velazquez, its affiliates, parent companies, and or subsidiaries are not under any obligation to update or correct any information provided on the radio show or on the website. His statements and opinions are subject to change without notice. No part of his compensation from the UCW radio show is related to the specific opinions he expresses. Please read the full disclaimer on MoneyNeverSleepsRadio.com.